In recent interviews, both Frank Warren and John Fury have claimed that Alexander Usyk might pay his mandatory challenger Daniel Dubois step-aside money and fight Deontay Wilder instead in Saudi Arabia. Inexplicably, the WBA have just installed Wilder at #1 in their rankings when he's done nothing of late to warrant such a ranking. When a fighter leapfrogs his way into a position like this, it's often a sign that he's about to be gifted a title shot. It remains to be seen if that will be the case here. But before we get into the possibility of that fight happening and the implications of it, I first want us to think about the career path of Alexander Usyk up to this point. He's been fighting non-stop elite competition for 17 years, amateur and pro. Gold medal at the European Championships 2008, gold medal at the World Championships 2011, gold medal at the Olympics in 2012, over 300 amateur fights, competed in the WSB against elite competition and won all his fights, including a victory over Joe Joyce, turns pro, wins the World Cruiserweight title in his 10th fight against Glavatsky in Glavatsky's backyard, beats Michael Hunter, beats Maris Briedis to unify 2 belts in Briedis' backyard, beats Murat Gassiev to become undisputed at cruiserweight in Gassiev's backyard, knocks out Tony Bellew in Bellew's backyard, moves up to heavyweight, beats Anthony Joshua for 3 belts in Joshua's backyard, tries to unify with Fury, but Fury starts messing around and wants a tune-up. Then beats AJ again in a rematch. He then tries to make the Fury fight for a second time. Fury moves the goalposts on the split, moves the goalposts on the location, moves the goalposts on the fight date, but Usyk agrees to everything. Usyk manages to postpone his mandatory defenses to accommodate Fury's nitpicking and get the fight over the line. Fury then demands a 70% share of the money, but Usyk agrees to that as well, as long as Fury donates £1 million to Ukraine. Fury refuses, of course, then proceeds to move the goalposts on the rematch clause, which was actually put into the contract several months earlier by Fury's own team. Fury then makes a video lying to the public, insinuating that it was a last-minute request by Usyk. This whole circus has been dragging on for 6 months by this point. It's just over 5 weeks away from the proposed fight date, and every time Usyk agrees to one of Fury's demands, he just adds another one on. Despite being desperate to become a 2-weight undisputed world champion, Usyk finally comes to the obvious conclusion that Tyson Fury just don't want to fight him, and his entire objective right from the very start was to price himself out. So Usyk breaks off these sham negotiations to go and fight his mandatories. Tyson Fury has just wasted 6 months of Usyk's career, and Bricktop has the audacity to smear him in the media when he knows damn well that it's his client, Fury, who never wanted the fight. Imagine what level of scumbag it takes to do something like that. The level of disrespect is absolutely incredible. If I was Alexander Usyk or Alex Krasuk, I would never work with Bricktop ever again. Problem is, 2 of Usyk's mandatories are promoted by Bricktop, Joyce and Dubois. He either fights them or gets stripped. But then you think to yourself, if my goal is to be undisputed and the WBC champion Tyson Fury isn't going to fight me, then what's the point in keeping hold of the other belts? Usyk is 36 years old. So unless Fury has a change of heart or vacates his title, Usyk might never get the opportunity to fight for it. In which case, the logical thing might be to just forget undisputed and go for the next biggest fights instead. And who would he go to make these big fights? Who can he trust to deliver on their word and not mess him around? The Saudis. Not only did he do the AJ rematch in Saudi Arabia, but he also agreed to deal with them to fight Tyson Fury as well. The rumor we're now hearing is that the Saudis are interested in doing Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. And of course, Bricktop, being the pathetic, cretinous individual he is trying to spin a narrative that Usyk ducked Fury to go and fight Wilder. But anyone with more than 2 brain cells will realize that if Usyk Wilder happens, it actually further proves that Fury ducked Usyk, not the other way around, because Usyk already agreed to fight Fury in Saudi. Fact, the deal was done on his half. It was Fury who refused to sign his Saudi deal. Fact, Bricktop then comes out with the excuse that there wasn't any venue available to host the fight over there. Well, hang on, Bricktop. If they can manage to do Usyk versus Wilder in Saudi, then how come you couldn't do Usyk versus Fury in Saudi? Occam's razor. Your man Fury didn't want it. Your excuses are so flimsy at this point, it's laughable. Usyk has always prioritized undisputed, both at cruiserweight and at heavyweight. But Fury, on the other hand, never has. In fact, Fury has actively tried to discredit undisputed for the past 5 years. And if you want to hear more about that, just click the link on screen at the end of this video. Now, if Usyk does fight Wilder next, I've got mixed feelings about it. It's an interesting fight, and I can understand it from Usyk's perspective. It's a legacy fight. Wilder is a former champion. He's got this fierce reputation, and many still regard him as a top 3 heavyweight. So if you beat him, you've arguably surpassed Tyson Fury in terms of heavyweight resume, because unlike him, you've got 2 wins over AJ as well. At which point, you're starting to make Tyson Fury less relevant. However, what I don't like is the fact that Deontay Wilder, a man who held the WBC belt hostage for 5 years and ducked several big fights during his reign, would be getting a title opportunity he hasn't earned. There are several contenders who are far more deserving of a shot at Usyk right now based on their most recent wins. Why should Wilder get to jump the queue? If Wilder wins, and with his power, that's always a possibility, do we really trust him to be different this time and actually fight all the top guys? I don't, and I especially don't trust his extraterrestrial manager, Shelly Finkel. In any event, we'll see what happens. Wilder does have options, apparently. He says he's very serious about the Francis Ngannou fight. It's a much easier fight for him, obviously, but it's whether they can make the numbers work in Africa. I'm sure he'll want a king's ransom for whichever fight he chooses. So that's the rumor at the moment. Bricktop has said that he's trying to salvage the undisputed fight for summer, maybe work out a step-aside deal for Dubois. Is it just more face-saving bluster? Or has the massive public backlash against Fury made him feel like he has to fight Usyk now to redeem himself? Whatever Team Fury's true intent, Usyk should never again entertain anything less than 50-50. If the deal can't be done in less than a month, move on. Do not allow these clowns to waste your time ever again. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.